Hey there. Today I am joined by Josh from Advanced R&D, also known as Merzain, as you may have seen him in the multiple discords or maybe on Facebook under, well, just Josh. Today we're going to be talking about some different ways that AMG can improve some of the older models in the game that have either lost some of their appeal through other releases coming out, maybe the loss of a key tactic card in drop off, or any other number of reasons. But before we get into that discussion, I want to mention and thank our sponsor of the Gamers Guild as a whole, Tritex Games. Has stepped into that role, and I'm super appreciative of all that. And actually, at the end of this video, I get to announce the first winner of our first giveaway from February. So very excited to do that. Don't know what model you're going to get. We're going to discuss that with you once your name is pulled, I guess, because, well, it seems things are being delayed a decent bit, unfortunately. But that being what it is, you will get something awesome, and we're excited to get to send that to you. As well, we are doing another giveaway for the month of March, and hopefully that will actually be one of April's releases because Tritex is located in the UK, and they should actually be getting those releases on time. So with that said, leave a comment down below in the description of this video, be subscribed to the channel, and you will get entered into that giveaway. As well, if you use the code TRITEXGGCP5, all caps, no spaces, it'll get you an extra 5% off of all of their MCP products. And if you pre-order something, that's up to 25% off the retail price, which is a really good price. Now, with that, Josh, please talk about yourself a little bit, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Josh. Like Nate said, if you see me in Discord, you'll see me under Merzain. I am on a podcast called Advanced R&D, where we build lists and swim in the jank tank. I'm also one of the organizers, the Dark Illuminati, for the TTS Tabletop Simulator League for this wonderful game. So if you have any questions about that or any concerns, you can give me a message on Discord. Uh, Also, I occasionally appear on Turn Zero Stuff, which is another podcast. Other than that, I'm just here to talk about old jank characters.
Yeah, and one thing to also mention, while you also do all of your janky kind of fun roster building experiment stuff with Advanced R&D, also want to congratulate you on at least being a top four contender for the fourth season on TTS. And obviously, you have a chance to even win it all at this point. We just don't know yet.
Yeah, it's been a crazy season. I've been really happy with how it's all worked out because even though I love jank, I am a competitive player at heart. So it's really nice to be getting some returns on that investment. Another thing that you may not have realized, I'm the last one in North America to be in the event. I was the only one to make it through the top 16.
So you were representing uh,
U-
our
U.S. and Canada. Hashtag best
yes.
in the West.
We'll go with that too. Why not? So what we are going to talk about today are some of some of these older characters that could definitely use a little bit of a shine, a little bit of extra love, something of that sort, and ways that AMG can help these characters, but without actually just doing a straight errata on their card or trying to fix a point value or something like that. Because other games, whether that is Warhammer, the Grimdark, or even something like Star Wars Legion or Song of Ice and Fire, all of these games have all these constant point updates and erratas that you have to keep track of. So you can't go to an event with the cards that you have from your expansion packs and actually have all of the correct information to play, which is a lot of a bummer, really, in my opinion. Now, AMG does have a FAQ and some erratas, but most of those are clarifications and not really for balancing.
Yeah, I think that's the precedent so far is that it's not going to be any balance changes through errata, um, and I don't expect that to change. Even coming from a game that had an excessive amount of errata from in War Machine,
Mm-hmm.
I don't foresee them doing that in this game, and I'm okay with that. And I think through a little bit of this discussion, we can kind of poke at the reasons why that's not really necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I hope it turns out that way. Certainly.
Yeah, and really, with these, I think we really only have 3 examples here of characters that probably really would deserve or really help boost them. And a couple of these characters also lost something, and that's maybe why they need a little bit of an extra boost or a shove. Uh, and so the characters we're going to talk about are Iron Man, Ultron, and Ebony Maw. And we want to kind of talk about some different approaches of ways that they could be improved and stuff like that. And the first one I want to bring up is something that FFG has previously done with their X-Wing expansions. And that is along the way, at least in first edition. I haven't played second edition, so I can't really speak to that one so much. But they released Ace Fighter packs, which would include 2 of the 2 ships, and it would have some new pilots and some new upgrade cards and stuff. But specifically, there was always in these packs a card that helped keep that older ship relevant through the use of a free upgrade of sort. So something I think would be really cool to see with either War Machine's release or even just a future Iron Man is a list of 3 upgrade cards that maybe take up one of your 8 tactic card slots or something like that. But you could have like a Arc Reactor 2.0, which gives Iron Man an extra power during the power phase, or maybe improved repulsor blast that increases the range or the strength of the attack. And so none of these things would actually increase his threat value or anything like that. And it would say that Iron Man was only limited to 1 suit upgrade or 1 suit modification in a game, and it would be universally applied to any Iron Man card. And I think that would be, at least for Iron Man, a really thematic way to keep him relevant and also just give him some options in both his newer armors as well as his older ones.
Yeah, I think you could do stuff like that. You could do a tactics card, or you could make it kind of like the Infinity Gem, where they take up a roster card slot,
Mm-hmm.
or a character card slot in your roster, excuse me. And you could do something, and this is just something I'm spitballing off the top of my head, but something like improved durability, where it's something like this Iron Man gains invincible, like the original Iron Man model has. But if you have invincible, it becomes more like Thanos' thing, where it's always blocking 1. So it gives a buff to the older one, or maybe ones that are meant to be durable, and kind of like doesn't just make the new ones even better when you take them.
Yeah.
Stuff like that specifically addresses the old one, but doesn't specifically address the old one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it helps the old one in some ways, but also can improve on the newer ones. And so, like, I think for Iron Man, especially, like, if we have multiple suits that come out down the road, it could be a really cool thing that if these upgrade cards are kept in mind for these other suits, we could have a really fast objective runner kind of build for Iron Man. Or you could be like, no, I kind of want him to have a better repulsor blast, be more consistent on the push, maybe, something like that could also be really cool.
Yeah, or you could have like a stealth suit that's got stealth, and
Yeah,
then like an invisibility upgrade that gives it something extra, and then gives your original Iron Man stealth. Because uh, I don't know how good that would be necessarily off the top of my head, but I mean, that would certainly make me more likely to take him if I could just give him stealth.
yeah, no, but just as again spitballing and all that kind of stuff, it'd be a really cool way for us to see Iron Man that doesn't cost additional threat like the gems, but maybe does take up a tactic card slot to give him some extra versatility, which would be really cool.
Yeah, a nice little Swiss Army knife would be really cool for it. And then you wouldn't even need to have like extra cards for it. You could just literally have a new upgrade card thing for not just necessarily Iron Man, but you could just say equipment or something, and
Yeah,
have them list either if they have limited characters they can take, like maybe it's only Avengers that can take this, or maybe it's only Tony Stark / Iron Man / whatever that can take it.
yep,
Oh, I just thought about an upgrade where you get to take War Machine's shoulder-mounted chain gun on your Iron Man. That would be so cool.
if only.
That would be so cool.
That would be awesome. And so I think that's one way that AMG going forward could very easily look at older releases and give certain characters an easy upgrade kind of thing. And one of the other ones that you kind of talked about that they've already seen success with is just new affiliations.
Yeah, I think that as more affiliations come out and give passive random abilities to any model, you start getting models that click with these new abilities better than they might have done when they were initially released. And I think we'll
Mhm.
talk about some of those later in the video, so I'm not going to spoil it yet. But that'd probably be a pretty good way to get, or even just brand new affiliations that work in these. I know a lot of people talked about, Iron Man having a house party protocol
Mhm.
affiliation. I mentioned in our little pre-talk, so an Ultron affiliation would be super cool and give you a reason to take old Ultron.
Yep.
Um,
Basically, the evil version of the House Party Protocol.
exactly, and just have I think that would be a good way, having their own contained affiliations when it's obviously necessary. I don't think we're going to get an Ebony Maw affiliation.
No, probably not that, and we're probably not likely to get an Ultron only affiliation either. Uh,
Yeah, I
but
would love it.
yeah,
The
but
AMG, please.
but we've definitely seen success, and I think we're fine to talk about it. Crossbones getting put into Criminal Syndicate. Granted, I don't think Crossbones was ever quite the bottom of the barrel character that everybody has downplayed him to be, but he certainly found renewed life joining the Criminal Syndicate.
Yeah, as a Crossbones official #1 fan, I I definitely agree. I think he was pretty okay before, pretty serviceable.
Hmm.
His problem was not having a home that really fit him super well. And in Criminal Syndicate, while there are other options, obviously, which points to a healthy game, there are other options you can take over him. Uh, he still provides a really good, unique benefit to that playstyle. So I think they hit the nail on the head in terms of that synergy. Um,
Yeah, because not only does Crossbones just play well into that affiliation, he's also a part of that affiliation, very much like Spider-Man and the Web Warriors. Uh,
oh yeah,
Spider-Man. So I think how we're kind of looking at this is if we are looking at a character like Iron Man on the rating of a three threat character, he's probably a 3.2 because you don't want to make Iron Man a two threat character. He's not like insanely busted at two, but he becomes really, really, really good as a two threat character. And there's reasons that he's not a two threat character. Where on the upper end of the three threats, we might be looking at Valkyrie or Shuri as like a closer to a 3.8 or a 3.9 even.
yeah, I agree with that. I think that the goal would be to bring something from a 3.1 like Iron Man to more of a 3.5, and not because it's really, you look at someone like Shuri and Valkyrie and you think that's the where I want my characters to be, but that's probably not where AMG wants all of their characters to be.
Yeah, you don't want all of your characters so universally that work that well. And so we kind of saw that with Spider-Man, though. I think most of all, he was a character that didn't really have an affiliation to play, and that's why he was not having just trouble seeing the table, but really having trouble getting into a roster. And so having him uh, be a part of the Web Warriors affiliation, he's seen a lot more play, and that whole affiliation just kind of works, and he fits that puzzle. So he probably went from a 4.1, 4.2 to a 4.6.
I would agree with that. I think even now a lot of players still have that old, well, Peter's not good mentality. I think we can still see a little bit with Crossbones too,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the more people play with those affiliations and more things come out to support them, uh, people will start getting in the groove with that. Because I think Peter from the start only needed a home, and he got it, and he's awesome, just absolutely nutty. He's typically my MVP when I play Web Warriors.
Yep, it is, but it is a little bit of a puzzle, especially with Web Warriors. It's not a easy to sit down and play it once and just get the hang of it. affiliation.
Oh no.
You got to get some reps in and stuff with them. But because he kind of found that home, you still don't necessarily want to just take Peter and put him into the Defenders or any random place. There's definitely a place, and that's where I guess the point 8, point 9 characters kind of come into play as characters that can easily be dropped into other places.
Yeah, and I think it's totally fine to say this character is good in this affiliation, and that be where it's good. Because, like we said, I don't think Valkyrie and Shuri being good in everything is necessarily, you know, I'm not gonna say unhealthy, but I don't know if it's necessarily the goal. You definitely don't want universal characters like that all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
having things that are designed to work in certain places is perfectly acceptable, and
Yeah.
kind of makes for a more interesting game, especially if you find a place where you said Spider-Man and Defenders. If you find Spider-Man useful in a different affiliation, it makes it all the more interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think we'll see more of that, things working in certain spots going forward.
Yeah, and so it's very possible that we are, fingers crossed, knock on wood, before the end of this year, we'll have the Sam Wilson version of Captain America, who will, I think they have confirmed that he's bringing a new affiliation to the Avengers. I know they've talked about Sin with the Cabal. I think they've said that he's going to bring a new Avenger affiliation. But like when he does, maybe he brings something that Ant-Man can actually use, or something that's going to really help Iron Man. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been confirmed, but I definitely would suspect that he'd bring a new Avengers affiliation since Sin
Yeah,
is.
yeah. So
Uh,
if Sin's bringing one for the Cabal, I feel like it just makes sense.
yeah, and maybe that's what brings, and maybe not even necessarily new affiliations, but Ultron is a Cabal affiliated character. Sin's new leadership may make Ultron more useful in his own affiliation, or
Yep.
Iron Man more useful with the Sam Wilson Captain America. So I
Yeah.
think that there's a lot of potential, because if you look at X-Men and Brotherhood, their two leaders in each one are vastly different, uh, and call for vastly different rosters and play styles to get going. Um, so if I can't even imagine what those two affiliations will look like and what characters will be sought after in those affiliations
Yeah.
going forward.
Just kind of like out of nowhere, which will be a lot of fun. Uh,
Exactly.
And something else, I guess, while we're talking about the affiliations anyway, is it doesn't always have to even be a character in affiliation. One of the ones that you brought up that has kind of found a new home is Black Dwarf.
Yeah, I experimented with Black Dwarf and Web Warriors and liked him, and I've seen a lot of people putting him in criminal syndicate lists because he's hard to move. Um, he's big, he can move people, and he's real chonky and hard to get injured, which is what
Hmm.
criminal syndicate wants. And I think that's a good example of someone that he didn't really fit in Black Order. He's just kind of not their play style. But when you get a really defensive um, affiliation that can take some pretty easily splashable characters, he works. I don't think it's very out of the question to say, hey, look, there's this other character, uh, like some of the ones we mentioned, that also have a pretty big thing that they do well that is really only discovered once something that supports it comes out. Like Iron Man's a tanky ranged character. Maybe there will be something in the future that will support that playstyle for somehow. I'm
Yeah.
not creative enough to figure something out like that.
But AMG certainly have, as we have well over 10 affiliations at this point. I think we're up to 14, and they have given us a solid variety of leadership abilities. And really, I feel like only really double dipping with the crossover between Magneto's Brotherhood and She-Hulk's A-Force leadership.
Yeah, those are probably two of the most similar. And like maybe Cabal, because it's also point gain, but I don't think that's a big, like, I think having point gain that focuses on different things, like A Force focuses on getting hit and dishing it back. Magneto wants to cause lots of chaos. And
Yeah,
Cabal just wants to hurt
just
you.
in the way that the power is distributed, where it can be given to other people and stuff. Cabal, it's like that character has to be the one attacking.
True. Yeah.
So they're unique little things. There's either a power engine or some power shuffling, like we've seen with Cyclops and humans. Uh, AMG has definitely has the creative stuff to continue with that train, and so very likely any of these characters might find a better home just down the road, regardless. One of my favorite examples is Wasp. I really enjoy her in both versions of Brotherhood. With Mystique, she's able to be a really mobile character that can rush around to objectives. Uh, but also, she just brings an energy tech to the Brotherhood, which is desperately needed. And then on Magneto's side of things, she has a size 3 terrain throw, which is extremely relevant for that leadership ability.
Yeah, and another affiliation that I think she's pretty good in still is A Force, being able to long move, special delivery, stealth's pretty nice for him. She's pretty well defensive with her reroll, pick up and reroll everything.
Yep.
I have thought about trying her in Web Warriors because of the rerolls, because I think anyone with rerolls is cool in Web Warriors. But
Makes sense.
I feel like she doesn't have a home in Avengers right now.
Yeah, no, I don't think Ant-Man definitely doesn't, because
No.
literally Cap just does not
Does
have
nothing.
anything to synergize with him. Wasp only a little bit so maybe we'll see a leadership that benefits them both a little bit more. But
Again, I have no idea what that could possibly look like, but I'm so excited to see it.
Absolutely. And I don't know, man. Were there any other things that you kind of can think of or thought of that maybe AMG could bring out of a toolbox from another game's design a little bit, or anything else, so that we don't have this problem of a straight errata, but maybe something that just comes down the road to help give a slight power boost?
I think similar to equipment card. This isn't from an outside game. This is from internal. I think the tactics cards. We see a lot of tactics cards that are character specific. I think a good example of that for an older model, and she wasn't really bad, but someone like Black Widow getting professionals,
Mm-hmm.
where she synergizes with Hawkeye all of a sudden, and it's something that supports both versions of the character. I think that could be a good way to get older models on the table. Maybe like War Machine comes with some sort of cool team tactics card that you have to take Iron Man with. So that's a good reason to get him on the table. Or a future card calls out Ultron for some reason. Maybe a new Ultron comes out and Age of Ultron works on him too. So now you have two characters that can Age of Ultron. So there's that which one's going to do it. Before it was just you have one character you don't want to attack, and now you have two characters you don't want to attack. How do you deal with that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of potential to see either wacky things like sibling rivalry or like really interesting, potentially good things like I said, professionals, or any of the other ones. I'm 100 something tactics cards I'm not thinking of.
And I think one that could set a really cool precedent going forward is, oddly enough, Deadpool's Chimichanga tactic card, where
True.
instead of just a one-time use effect, where obviously it is a one-time use, where Deadpool plays the card and now gets the Chimichanga token, that token is now relevant for the rest of the game. And so maybe there's a tactic card where we see put a blank counter on this character. As long as this character has this token, they get these bonus effects. And so it doesn't become like an objective token that can be dropped, but maybe they lose it if they go to their injured side. And so maybe you have to decide, do I want to play this on the healthy or the injured side of the character?
Yeah, maybe like a not necessarily a status condition, but something like binary form, where it's just a token that signifies it has this thing.
Yeah.
Can I make a quick aside about the chimichanga? A little bit of my visualization of chimichanga. So Deadpool is going to be used. Spoiler alert: he's going to be used in Criminal Syndicate.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things about it is the chimichanga is an objective token. So Criminal Syndicate can pass it amongst each other with their leadership, and it just makes this hilarious image in my head of Deadpool pulling a chimichanga out of one of his utility belt pockets, taking a big bite of it, and Kingpin walking up behind him and going, "Yeah, it looks pretty good. Can I get a bite?" And then every member of this hit squad of super villains here to do a job just takes a bite of this communal chimichanga for the healing benefits.
I have now begun to witness. I don't know if you've seen this, or audience, if you have seen this, the NFL commercial where a random football is thrown at like a Hall of Fame banquet, and there's like all these football players who instantly just go into like give it to me mode. And so like I'm seeing Bullseye from across the room like throw a knife at the chimichanga to pin it to a wall, and then like Killmonger dashes in and grabs it or something.
Yeah, that's exactly just this stupid chimichanga getting passed around all these super villains. It's
And Deadpool just ends up crying because he lost his chimichanga.
He lost his chimichanga. But back on track.
Yes.
I think there's a lot. They have proven that they can make absolutely off the wall tactics cards that do all these crazy things with all varying forms of power level, between, making sure a character doesn't die, to maybe securing like maybe getting an extra attack, whole extra activations, to something as simple as healing a little bit, or
gaining fly,
and then having to roll on the wheel of destruction potentially. So I think there's near limitless possibilities in the tactics card zone to improve older characters. And then, like I said, you don't have to necessarily just focus them. You can make it cool on the new ones too, while giving something that they want to do.
Yeah, so I think if we, going forward, we could easily see like War Machine come with a card that, hey, either War Machine or Iron Man can play this card. Or maybe it's a Agents of Smash deal where, hey, if you have War Machine and Iron Man, you get to do their really cool back-to-back scene from Iron Man 2 with lasers and stuff.
Oh no, now you have me wanting that. I didn't want that before, and now I've stepped into a realm where I need this.
Apologies. So go ahead.
I was going to say, Agents of Smash is such a good example. I don't know. I'm sure people will fight me on it, whether or not it's competitively viable in that sense. But it's definitely one of the coolest cards to me because it's the only card in the game that can interact with size 5 terrain. So, and maybe you won't ever take Hulk and She-Hulk, and maybe you'll never play Agents of Smash. But there's that possibility, and that leaves that duo always open if there's ever a reason that's important. So that kind of stuff to me only makes the game better. And I'd love to see stuff like that for more older characters.
Yeah,
maybe better.
It's really cool. And again, a lot of the duo cards in the game are tough to justify in the more competitive top tier meta places. But there are also definitely duo cards that I have played and are very effective. Get Help / Sibling Rivalry is a great example of the potential of a duo card. Even Bucky and Captain America's Till the End of the Line is a very powerful and kind of unique effect to this point of the game.
Yeah, I think stuff like that's going to be a good option going forward. And the thing with Till the End of the Line that's really important to notice is it's Captain America. So Sam Wilson, who we've been talking about a bunch, will also be able to play that and use it with the old Winter Soldier. So that's an old card helping a new character out, just in time for Falcon and the Winter. Well, a little too late because of shipping delays, but almost right in time for Captain America Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I went from wanting to say Captain America and the Winter Soldier to Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and he's neither of those things, I don't think, in the show.
We'll find out.
If he throws a shield, I'll be so happy.
I really want him to, but we'll see. But yeah, no, there's all those possibilities, and we also at this point know that there's another Spider-Man coming out, and so things like Venom's Uneasy Ally card, we don't know if this new Spider-Man is going to be called the Amazing Spider-Man and thus unable to have access. But we've already got core Spider-Man, Miles Morales Spider-Man. Maybe we just get another Spider-Man that's also able to dip into these older cards. So we kind of have these precedents already set. Uh, and so I definitely think that while AMG, really all of the card or characters that we kind of listed off the beginning that are really low on that threat curve for their range that need a little bit of a boost, also took really the only hit or nerf that has happened in the game with losing drop off.
Yeah, I think it was definitely more relevant for a character like Ultron because of his base size.
Yeah, the base size and size 3, being a size
Yeah.
3 flyer, is something to this point is still pretty rare to have. I think Green Goblin is the
It's
only
him.
other one.
It's him and Green Goblin, and I think that's it. Which Green Goblin's spider foes, I personally think that, especially when drop off was a thing, Ultron was pretty good in that affiliation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that was a pretty big hit to him. It definitely took a little bit of the wind out of the sails of Iron Man, because at least there was like, well, I can use Iron Man in the back and then move him up for a drop off. Maybe less so Ebony Maw.
Yeah, Ebony Maw. I was fishing to give him something. What can I say?
Ebony Maw needs a lot of something.
Yeah.
I love that character. And again, I'm not a game designer. I'm not very creative. I don't know what you could do to make him a lot better. But again, I think a lot of people thought that with Spider-Man, with Peter Parker.
Yep.
I'm 100% confident if AMG put their mind to it, they could give us something that would make Ebony Maw all of a sudden one of the coolest characters.
Yeah, and one of the things that I really like about the other success stories we've had with Crossbones with Spider-Man uh, are these characters, like, while they're definitely getting lifted up in these new affiliations, it's not suddenly also breaking characters that already exist and are already very strong. So Criminal Syndicate coming out did not make Valkyrie or Shuri suddenly become like really worthy of like a 4.3 or anything like that for 3 threat. And it's done. They've done really well keeping the balance still.
Yeah, and even someone like MODOK, who's in Criminal Syndicate, while I do think he's still fantastic in Criminal Syndicate, I don't think he necessarily becomes, oh, I now push Crossbones out because I have to take MODOK. I think either of those play styles are a choice in that affiliation. And maybe someone playing Criminal Syndicate's going to send me an angry message about that and say, no, don't tell people that because it's not true. But from my observation, that's what I feel like, and like what I've seen. Not everyone does MODOK. When I see an affiliation that can run equal parts Crossbones and equal parts MODOK, I feel like you've got something going. You got a good thing.
Is that both Cabal and Criminal Syndicate that they both do that?
But he's not in. People don't play him in Cabal. People who aren't me don't play him in Cabal.
That's
Crazy
true.
people.
I
Crazy
know.
people don't play him in Cabal.
Awesome. Well, at this point, I want to say thank you, Josh, for joining me on this late night excursion. I was definitely hoping to maybe have already had Hydra Bob's card and to record my Deadpool and Bob review. You have saved me by jumping in here at the last second and having something I wanted to talk about for a little while, but just didn't really have a chance to really get it set up. And this was a great way to explore the topic. Especially with somebody who loves the casual jank, but is also performing obviously really well at the top levels.
Oh yeah, if you get me for some jank talk, I'm all about it. And I really like discussing game design, and I think that this game, particularly more than a lot, has a lot of room to work with. I think that there's an insane amount of design space, which old War Machine players will find that to be a meme, but plenty of design space to add in cool things to make old stuff good, new stuff better, you name it, and keep it thematic, right? Because I think that's the most important thing. This game is so thematic.
And which is so wonderful for so many reasons, because we're able to have more narrative games. We can have the more tuned games and optimized games and whatever. And it all still fits, and it's all very easily accomplished, I think.
Exactly. And thanks for having me on. Like I said, any jank talk, I'm all for it. And we both, and I know it, you know it. Bob will get released tomorrow, and it's
Yep.
it's the unfortunate luck of the.
By the
Of
time this video is live, Bob will probably be released. But at that point, I will be a sleep-deprived father, and, well, that be what it is. And with that, as we get to the end of this episode, I'm going to share my screen as I jump over to our first giveaway for February. So be watching this. I'll also comment here. These are the 4 different videos for February. We got one winner, one substitute winner. Can I do 0? Oh, I can do 0. So we have the one winner. If you don't respond, I'll have to choose somebody else, I guess. But hopefully you respond and we get this taken care of. And the winner is going to be... They want me to pay for this. 126 comments, blah, blah, blah. This, you don't have a credit with sufficient limits. Huh. Well, I will get this figured out, and I will do another live drawing later, apparently. But until that point, and really there's just going to be some editing magic that happens. But thank you all for joining us here and listening to us rave about a couple of fun ways that AMG could possibly, in the future, do some cool advancements. And if either of you wills are listening, feel free to call us. We admittedly know nothing about game design or any balancing issues or anything like that, but we are happy to give our 2 cents if you like anything that we talked about.
Yeah, we got the ideas, man.
Yeah, we're big brain like that. But thank you all for watching, and until next time, keep on gaming. Okay, guys, I ended up having to go to a different web page to get everything loaded up and all of that, but now we should be able to find our random winner, and we have Chris Hood, who looks to have commented on the Crystal and Lockjaw review, and humans are not my jam, but Lockjaw looks fun with his power-heavy kit, and I could not agree more. Very excited. And Chris Hood, I will be reaching out to you later today.